Um, Hey everyone, we're just letting folks come into the event. Looks like people are slowly trickling in, so I'll give it about 3 minutes and we'll probably start at like 4:05. All right, well, as promised, I said we'd get started at 4:05 and I want to make sure I'm being respectful of everyone's time. So we will get started. Welcome everyone to our final Castle conversation of the fall 2020 COVID semester. We have almost made it. Uh, Exams are right around the corner for our students and our faculty. I know you're probably feeling a lot of pressure right now, but soon you'll be able to take that deep breath and kind of breathe and go relax for the holiday. My name is Morgan Junker. I am the Retention and Outreach Manager for the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters. I have been hosting these conversations all semester long. It's really just a way for folks to get together to kind of hear some updates that are coming from leadership on campus, some updates within academic programs, things you should know as a student. And then, of course, you get to hear from many of our faculty and staff and our dean, Martin Hershak, who is actually with us again today. Normally we have faculty come in and give presentations about academic programs or new opportunities, but because we are heading into a long break, I felt it would probably be best to answer some questions regarding the winter semester, what it's going to look like, and then some other updates that, or questions rather, that you might have, finalizing this semester and then moving into the winter semester. So we do have Dean Hershak with us, and I'm just going to be asking him some questions that either students have been asking, we've been hearing throughout the university of students asking, or just some questions maybe you haven't thought of, but it might be important and something for you to think about. But before I begin, I will let Dean Hershak pop on here and either introduce himself or offer some words of wisdom before we dive into those questions.
Ooh, that's a tall order. Words of wisdom. So, well, hello everyone. Welcome to this CASL conversation, and congratulations on nearly making it through this interesting semester. It's definitely been a challenging year for many of us, and I'm grateful to all of the faculty and staff who may take the time to view this or who are in attendance today for all of the hard work that they have done. And I wanted to pay special homage to Morgan for all of her hard work in putting these conversations together and helping us to get information out to students, faculty, and staff, and to provide us with an opportunity to get together and to build some community. So thank you, Morgan, for your hard work and effort. My introductory comments today are very brief. I did want to wish each and every one of you the best of luck with the end of the fall academic term. And then I wanted to strongly encourage you all to take some time over the extended break to completely unplug and to rest and recharge before we plunge back into things in the middle of January. So it's nice that we've got a bit of a longer break, and I absolutely hope that each and every one of you takes the time that you need to sort of recenter and compose yourself and prepare for what's coming. So good luck all, and thanks for all of your hard work to get to this point. So with that, I'm happy to have some CASL conversation, Morgan.
All right, perfect. And then for anyone that is joining us today, whether it is faculty, staff, or students, if you have any questions, feel free to submit them via the Q&A function, and we will answer them live. Well, Dean Hershak will answer them live for all of us. But in the meantime, I do have some questions here. So the first question is, with exams around the corner, what help is available for students as they finish up final projects or are looking to take a final exam? Is there any things to help them with their success? Is it too late for tutoring? Is it too late for anything like that?
So that's a great question and a really important one. There's lots of help available. The first place that any student should turn if they're having difficulties or if they need help, of course, is to the faculty member who's teaching the course. Believe it or not, faculty actually are incredibly willing to meet with students and to help them. We enjoy very much interacting with our students and taking time to meet with them and to get to know the students a little better, but also to help them with issues that they're having. So that's definitely the first place you should turn. All of our learning centers are operational here in the remote environment. So our Math Learning Center, our Science Learning Center, the Writing Center, the Foreign Language Lab, those are all wonderful places to turn. There are supplemental instruction sections in many of the courses, particularly those that have higher rates of where students struggle in those courses. And while you may not have participated in supplemental instruction throughout the semester, it's never too late to go to those sessions. They're very helpful. They're run by students who have already been successful in the course that you're taking. So that's another great place to turn. There are, and Morgan's highlighting some of them here on the screen, a number of other places that you can turn. the Start Advising Office for students who are new to campus and who have their advising hosted out of Start. Start advisors can help you to plug into campus resources as well. There is the CASL Advising and Records Office as well that you can turn to. You can contact Morgan, and she can help to point you in the right direction. And she's provided you with her email address there. For students who may be struggling as well with maybe some stress or anxiety, or maybe they're having difficulty in the remote learning environment, certainly we can help to put you in touch with folks in our counseling office. The Dean of Students is an outstanding resource, Amy Finley. She welcomes emails or phone calls from students, and she knows everybody and every office on campus and can direct students to the assistance that they might need. Financial aid if you're having difficulty, maybe making tuition payments, or frankly, if you have other financial needs that are going unmet at the moment, that maybe you need some help with paying rent or utilities or things of that sort. Either the Dean of Students or the Financial Aid Office can put you in touch with folks on campus who can help you there. So there's a whole host of, another resource that I need to mention because it often goes overlooked is the library and the librarians. They're tremendous in terms of helping students with projects, or helping them to connect with other resources on campus. The new library director and the librarians have done an amazing job of looking for ways to connect with and to assist students. So they've got a whole host of informative videos, some of which are sort of animated, that help students to think about how to approach research, how to work through Canvas, things of that sort. If you're having difficulties with technology and things of that sort, we can plug you into our Canvas team, or to our IT office on campus as well, and they can provide you with help. So in short, there are lots and lots and lots and lots of resources on campus for you to tap into, and it's never too late to reach out to those people for the help that you need. Right? Just because you haven't done so up to this point in time doesn't mean that you can't do so if the need is there.
Absolutely. And if you do decide to click on or go to the CASL Academic Support, many of the offices that Marty was referencing are actually all listed on there with clickable links. So things ranging from tutoring and SI to all of the learning centers to counseling services, CASL advising, what have you. So within that link there are several others that are incorporated on it. So Marty, I've personally been hearing some whispers about academic integrity, especially in light of COVID. What can students and faculty do to steer clear of any academic integrity issues? And then what would it mean for a student if they were caught cheating or plagiarizing or something along those lines?
This is another really important topic, and thank you for bringing it up, Morgan. Yes, academic integrity issues have become a major topic of conversation across campus at the moment. We definitely are seeing lots of students perhaps struggling with their courses. We are seeing lots of faculty who are struggling with communicating with their students about how to prepare for and to engage in course materials. And frankly, unfortunately, we're seeing lots of incidents of students who are taking actions that bring them into conflict with the campus's academic integrity policies, which they should all be familiar with. There's a website that you can visit and read all about those. So, well, I think that what I would say first and foremost to students is I think in the main, people know what is and what isn't permissible. Um, it's certainly permissible for you to work with your peers and your parents and friends at other universities in studying for course material or sort of working through problems that you might have as part of a homework assignment. Any work, though, that you submit should be your work, right? Now, that work may result from, may sort of come out of that collective work that you've done, but you need to present it in your own manner. You need to show that you understand it. You need to demonstrate how you came to the answer that you came to. So I think if you're confused about whether what you're thinking of doing might be considered a violation of academic integrity, first thing to do is to reach out to the professor and to speak to them. So I'll give you one quick example here. I often see cases that come across my desk or students who come to visit me who are confused about citations on papers and whether or not they have cited something properly. And unfortunately, they often don't go to the professor and ask the professor if the citation method that they're using is correct or adequate. And sometimes that leads them afoul of the academic integrity policy. So I had one student, for instance, who included quoted material in a paper that they wrote, and they put a parenthetical citation after the material that they quoted, but they didn't put the quoted material in quotation marks. And so that was problematic. That led to some difficulty and some a difficult conversation, right? So it's okay if you're writing a paper and you have a citation method that you're using to share that with a faculty member and ask, is this what you're looking for? Did I get everything you need here? I would say that, you absolutely, it's okay to work with students, but you need to know where to draw the line. It's not okay to be taking an exam or a quiz and to be communicating with your peers on WhatsApp. It's not okay to take a problem that has been given to you as part of an exam and to submit it on chegg.com and then submit the response that you get from Chegg as your answer. So from a student's perspective, I think what you need to do, and if you don't, just ask for help and people will be happy to guide you. I think from a faculty perspective, I would say the following. If you think that some of these things might be happening in your classes, I would encourage you to be proactive. I understand that it really is incumbent upon our students to understand what is a violation of academic integrity. But a lot of the students are, they're new to the university. They haven't necessarily written extensive papers or done the kind of work that we're asking them to do. The COVID environment makes learning more difficult for some of them. They can't build the kinds of community necessarily that they would maybe rely on campus to respond to questions and the like. So I would say try to be proactive, offer examples of proper behavior or proper citations. If you suspect students are engaging in collaborative work on using Chegg or WhatsApp, um, call them out and offer a warning. Better to be upfront about what you're hearing or what you think you're seeing, and encourage the students to stop. Because if they don't, and this is the other part of your question, Morgan, what happens? Well, students who are reported for breaking or violating the academic code of conduct face any number of sanctions. So first and foremost, the professor gets to determine what the sanction is in the individual course that they're taking. That could range from anything from a stern warning and a finger being waved at them to failing a quiz or an examination, or to outright failing the class as a whole. And while students have the right to appeal, it's been my experience that the evidence that faculty have gathered is very persuasive. Not only, though, would you necessarily face a sanction within your class, but your name goes into an academic database here in the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters, and it remains in that database up to the point of your graduating from the university. So if you have aspirations for professional school, maybe you want to become a doctor or a dentist, or you want to go to grad school or law school, you may have a failing grade on your transcript that you're going to need to explain. And B, if those institutions reach out to my office, which they more often than not do, and ask if there are any violations of student code of conduct or any issues with this particular student, I have to report that we have a violation on record. And that could mean the difference between you being admitted and you not being admitted. And so, think very carefully about what you're doing and how you proceed. And, don't, I think, I'm in the middle of a very messy situation right now. And it's clear in looking at some of the evidence that the students came to believe that faculty could never find out what it was they're doing, but they did, because one of the students felt badly about what they were doing and informed the instructor, and so it's really not worth the risk. It really isn't. It's far better to take a C in the class and to repeat it and to show that medical school that you're earnest in terms of working hard and earning a good grade, than it is to run the risk of having an academic integrity violation and a failing grade on your transcript. So
yeah. So after that deep, dark question and answer, no, I think that was very informative, Marty, and I appreciate that. And I think that, and I hope that students really kind of heed that warning and at least ask if they are questioning anything, especially as we move into exam time. To change direction just a little bit, there's obviously been an announcement regarding the pass-fail option that has been extended to students for this semester. How would students know if that's something they should take advantage of? Is there someone they should talk to, or is there a best practice with this?
that is a very good question. And actually, this is one of the reasons why there was actually some debate about whether or not to allow a pass-fail option within the faculty senate. While it sounds on the surface like a very simple thing, pass-fail grade, if it masks perhaps a less than stellar performance in a class. You maybe got a C and you were hoping to get an A. So you take a pass. It doesn't factor into your grade point average, obviously. But it is the case that the grade it's there. And if a medical school or dental school asks, that grade can be revealed, right? Because the grade is actually entered but then it is translated into a pass or a fail. Or in the case of this semester, it won't actually be a fail. It'll be a new grade called No Credit COVID, which is it's designed to sort of suggest that, given the pandemic circumstances, this failing grade may be a function of things other than academic effort or what have you. So on the surface, pass fail sounds like perhaps a great option. And for some students, it is. But for other students, it can be problematic, particularly those students who, again, may be thinking about medical school or law school. Professional schools of that sort are looking for particular kinds of grades in classes, and it's not out of the question. In fact, it's pretty typical that students will, or that those institutions will reach out to the university to ask what the grade is that led to the pass or the fail grade. And so what I always encourage students to do who are considering pass fail, even under normal circumstances, because that's always an option to you, is to, first of all, consult with your academic advisor, whether they be in the START office or in the CASL advising office, or if you're in another unit, in their advising office. Ask those advisors what the pros and cons are of following this particular course of action. If you are someone who aspires to a professional school admission, I would encourage you to also reach out to some of the more specialized advising units on campus. So we have a pre-med advisor, for instance. If you're thinking about medical school and you're looking to opt for a pass-fail, even, maybe you didn't do quite as well as you wanted in that biology course, I would definitely talk to the pre-med advisor and find out what the potential ramifications are of making this choice. Financial aid is another place that you would definitely want to think about having a conversation, because I'll give you an example. Say you earned a D in a course. Well, for purposes of pass fail, a D comes, it's a fail course. You would get a failing grade for the course. But for purposes of financial aid, a D is a passing course, passing grade, and it keeps you eligible for financial aid. So there may be implications for you relative to your financial aid. So you need to, if you're getting financial aid, you need to speak to a financial aid advisor about what this choice might mean for you. So again, the last person I would say that you need to talk to as well are faculty advisors. So, maybe you're looking at grad school, or maybe you're working closely with a particular faculty member who may be helping you as you think about applying for medical school or what have you. Speak to them as well. They will offer you good advice as to whether or not to take this pass-fail option. Again, it sounds like an easy thing to do. It sounds like an easy decision to make, but there could be significant ramifications, both in terms of your financial aid, but also in terms of your future educational and or career aspirations that you need to take into account as well.
Absolutely. I think all great points. And certainly our offices, all of these offices that Marty was mentioning, we are all here through December 23rd, and our offices reopen January 4th. So though you as a student may not be in classes, our offices are still open and we are available to help with any of these questions, especially if it comes to, registering for classes and you have these questions regarding pass fail or just anything in general. Just know that we are open and we are here to help.
Yeah, and I would say, Morgan, the way it's set up, students will be able to see their grades and make a decision after that point in time as well. So, if you're looking at your transcript and you're not quite sure what to do, there are lots of resources. And likewise, this policy will be in effect in the winter term as well. Um, so having a conversation in advance and knowing what the pros and cons are would be very useful.
Absolutely. So I do want to switch gears a little bit and actually look forward and look at what the winter semester is going to look like. I know there's been a lot of questions on what will be available, will we be remote? So Dean Hershot, can you talk a little bit about what the winter semester will look like?
So let me grab my crystal ball.
Yes.
Um, it's a good question. I'm fairly confident in saying that the winter semester will look very much like the semester we just finished, perhaps sort of um, in a mirrored way. That is, we will be starting the semester entirely remotely. The hope is that come March 1st, we will have a um, small number of courses, primarily lab courses or senior design courses, that will return to campus. So we're looking at no more than about a 15% return to campus. Most of the buildings will remain closed, the exceptions being those buildings where labs or essential kinds of classroom buildings. A lot of the classes themselves that are meeting, there's only a handful, are largely meeting in the Fairlane Center. So you will continue to have to take the pre-screening before you come to campus. There will continue to be the temperature checks, social distancing. The lab courses themselves will still be limited in terms of the numbers of students that they can accommodate. All of that will look very much the same. The administrative and support offices on campus will remain, physical locations will remain closed. For the most part, they'll be working remotely. I would anticipate, in fact, that uh, even going into the summer and the fall semesters, um, that kind of minimal presence on campus is likely to continue. So beyond winter, the university is actually looking at two different planning models. One that perpetuates or continues this 15% density model that we're currently using for the fall semester and into the winter, and another that ups our campus density to around 50%. Hopefully the new vaccine and perhaps some um, new policies that come out of Washington will help to get the virus under control and enable us to offer more of our laboratory courses and maybe some of our more of our foundations courses and honors courses on campus, things of that nature, more of our language courses, mathematics. But we're not going to be, even come fall, back to the way we were. And again, there will be likely be buildings on campus that remain closed even at that late of a date. So I'm anticipating, I think winter will very much look just as the fall did, except in reverse. Even if things got markedly better, I don't see the campus, we've planned for 15% density. I think that's what we're going to go for and stick with in March and April. Obviously, if things get worse, the university could just continue to do things completely remotely. But I'm hopeful that we're turning a corner and that we'll be able to ramp up more and more of what we do on campus after after the winter semester. I mean, the other thing about winter, we're starting a little later than we normally would. We're not going to have winter break, a week break. There are a couple of days that are built into the calendar that were just announced. And we've encouraged faculty to think about mental health days or and how those might be built into their individual syllabi. But I guess the good thing is you won't have to be worrying about driving in bad weather or snow days or any of that. So there's some consolation, I suppose.
And Marty, this question came in and it's actually related to what you were just talking about. This is from a student. When I had in-class labs, I really liked having a small number of students in the lab session due to the close interaction with the professor and the lab activities. Will something like this be continued after the pandemic? And will there be more online labs after the pandemic is over? So this is very future thinking, but.
And it's a really fabulous question, because I could definitely see how the smaller lab experience and more interaction between the student and the lab instructor, and peer-to-peer interaction would be really beneficial. I know that our natural science department has invested a lot of time and energy in filming or recording lab activities and thinking about ways to do more of their labs online. This is something that I would be happy to bring up with the chair of the department. I have regular meetings with all of the chairs, because it very well may be that the department and the disciplines within it could think about using those recorded lab demonstrations as a way of alleviating some of the pressure on the labs and trying to keep the lab sizes a little smaller. This definitely we're going to be definitely going to be continuing that model into the foreseeable future and probably into the fall as well. So I don't anticipate our labs going back to their normal size during the 2021 calendar year. Of course, the one difficulty here is the demand, right? Our natural sciences courses are heavily subscribed for the most part, particularly at the lower level, but in biology at all levels. And in limiting lab sizes, we put some real strain on our facilities. We don't have enough lab space to run them longer. I mean, there are options of maybe extending labs into Saturdays as a way of keeping the lab sizes smaller. As I said, there may be ways of mixing in hands-on lab activities with more digital content, which would allow for smaller groups of students to meet. It's a really interesting point, and I'm glad that the student has found that experience to be a helpful one. It's sort of unintended, but I think that's great. And I'll definitely mention it to the department chair and see what the department might be able to do on this front. Yeah, it'd be great if we could have labs where, if 5 or 10 students are interacting with a faculty member. And I wish we could make sure that they're all like that, but unfortunately we cannot. But we can look to see what we can do to keep that learning experience alive. So.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for answering that. Some questions are coming in. If we are to continue in a remote environment, especially for more than the winter semester, what will things like research opportunities, internships, study abroad, and other co-curricular opportunities look like?
Yes. So research is an interesting one. At this point in time, many of our faculty research labs, particularly in the sciences, have been approved for restarting. And the faculty are allowed to have some students in those labs, not nearly the numbers that they've had in the past, but so there are some on-campus research opportunities that are available for students in the sciences in particular. Um, Other faculty have been using students to help with remote research work that they're doing online, or work that is based on other digital resources that are available across the internet. So, and then field work has also been restarted. So there are some faculty whose work takes place out in the world, literally in fields, maybe in areas in city of Detroit. Those research opportunities at the moment are just sort of being considered for restarting. The research that the faculty do is actually restarted, but thus far, I don't think we've been able to approve students participating in them, but hopefully we can get that going soon. What I can say is that the college has lots of research money available, and we are eager to use it to support faculty and student research. So, and we're continuing to do online things like the CASL Research Forum for undergraduates. I don't know if Meeting of Minds is going this year or not, but research is something that I think that there still are opportunities there. Internships in the internship office is, I think, very busy in terms of working to place students. Not every type of internship opportunity that we've had in the past is available in our current remote world, but many of them are. And so that is certainly something that students should, by all means, participate in. It's I think an imperative that our students do that. Talent Gateway is still up and running. So students who may be interested in thinking about how the various things that they're learning are come together, or challenging themselves to sort of step outside of their comfort zone, and to learn more about themselves, they can turn to the Talent Gateway. Study abroad, unfortunately, right now is not going to happen, and for two reasons. One, most countries around the globe don't want Americans coming in. Sorry. And secondly, the University of Michigan has sort of put the kibosh on on foreign travel. So I can guarantee you, though, as soon as that is a possibility, the College of Arts, Sciences, and Letters will restart our study abroad opportunities. So all of these things are still ongoing, and I think it's wonderful that the student asked this question. It shows that they recognize the importance of them, and I think it really helps to make your education a well-rounded experience. So likewise, I should point out the resources for I'm drawing a blank. The office that helps with resumes and job placement, career preparation, that continues as well. And so another place that students can turn.
Absolutely. And I also just added to the chat that the Castle Internship Center, it does continue to place students, and there's a link that you can click on from the chat. We actually have we have our two Castle Internship Center staff members here today, and they were wanting me to make sure that I told everyone that they are here, they are helping students. students are being placed into internships that are remote and also um, in-person safe environments that we can put students into. So there are still lots of opportunities for students outside of the classroom that will help with your education.
Absolutely.
I think we are finished with our questions. One thing that I'd like to just make sure that everybody knows, especially our students, is right now registration is open for the winter semester. And I know many of you are probably waiting to see what your final grades might be. You might be waiting to see some personal things that are happening. But as soon as you can make those decisions and you're ready to register for the winter semester, make sure you're doing that as early as possible. We want to make sure that you're able to get into the courses that you need. And the only way to ensure that that happens is by registering for those courses as early as you can. If you need help with any of that, reach out to either Start Advising or CASL Advising and work with advisors to make sure that you're getting put into classes that help you reach your degree. You can ask them questions about if the course will be synchronous or asynchronous. They'll be able to help you with that. But please, please just register for those courses early. It's very important to keep you on track and keep you moving forward. We don't want to have any students coming January 12th saying, oh my gosh, classes start in 2 days and I wasn't able to get into the class that I needed. What can I do? Reach out to me, reach out to, like I said, the two advising offices. But please, get registered and be proactive rather than reactive.
That's a really important point, Morgan, because the college is also trying to be very mindful of expenses and operating efficiently and not wasting the valuable tuition dollars that we have available to us. And so we also have to make decisions about low enrolled courses and which courses to run and which ones to cancel. And unfortunately, sometimes we have to cancel classes because there's only one or two students in them. And it very well may be the case that there are other students who are interested in that course, but who just didn't get around to registering for it before we had to make that decision. So doing so sooner rather than later is good. I would also, definitely encourage students to keep their recent experiences with remote learning in mind when they register. Don't overcommit. Be mindful of what you can handle because you don't want to put any extra stress upon yourself. And, another thing I'm hearing from a lot of students, be ready for lots of assignments in these classes. Here's one of the sort of ironies. Lots of students saying they can't believe how much more work that they are experiencing in this distance learning world. Part of that's a function of faculty taking to heart the advice of experts about best practices in terms of online education. And rather than trying to be mindful of the stress level and anxiety level of students. So rather than having just a handful of very high stakes assignments, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, faculty are trying to spread that out over a greater number of assignments, which count for less and less, perhaps a smaller portion of the grade. So the intention is good, but sometimes from the student's perspective, it looks as though the faculty have no concept of how busy students are and that they're being inundated with all of these assignments. So be prepared for that kind of an environment, and think about what your experiences were this semester as you're trying to contemplate which courses to sign up for or how many courses to take.
Absolutely. Well, that is everything that we have. Marty, do you have any just lasting advice that you'd give folks as we move into exam season and then a nice break and then moving into the winter semester?
I'll sound like an old grandpa here, but as you approach your final exams, both for faculty in terms of grading and students, um, it really is critical that you take good care of yourself. You're not going to be at your best. You're not going to perform well on that exam if you are pulling all-nighters night after night after night. Getting a good night's sleep before your final exam is critical. Believe it or not, while you're sleeping, your brain is processing all that stuff you studied and helping to make sense of it. And so, make sure that you are doing all of those things you need to do. Eat well. Don't just sit in your chair like I do many days, meeting after meeting. Get up, move around. I know it's cold outside. Even if you're just moving around in your house, it's important. Um, and, eh, again, getting a good night's sleep. And don't put things off to the last minute. Try to plan them out, stretch them out as best you can, and don't beat yourself up if you didn't get that extra 2 hours of studying in that you wanted to get in. Um, it's okay to just walk away and take some time to decompress and to watch something silly on television, or to listen to some music, or play with your dog or cat or whatever. um, Everyone's here in this together. We're all trying to get through it. Your faculty want you to be successful. I want our faculty to be successful. So, that's, I guess that's all I would say. Good luck. I know that you can do this, and break is right around the corner.
Absolutely. And I'll just echo what Dean Hershak said is, ask for help. Everybody is here to help, me, myself included, Dean Hershak included, all of the faculty, all of the staff members, and each other, lean on each other as students. That's something that's really important as well. So with that, good luck with exams coming up. Enjoy your break and take full advantage of having almost a month off, and get geared up for the winter. We're excited to see what the winter holds, and hopefully come March we'll be able to see kind of the light at the end of the tunnel. So take care, everyone, and we appreciate all of your hard work and all of your um, persistence throughout the semester.
Bye all.